This is Larry Henares making your day with the second part of an article I wrote on money, this time entitled How Banks Were Born. And so, I quote, "And so people in a market economy produced more than they needed and exchanged these for other goods and saved their surplus wealth in terms of gold and silver. Now the very rich found it necessary to build special money counting rooms to hoard their gold and silver and protect them from thieves and robbers. These rooms had vaults with special locks and armed guards. The none so rich who had gold to store but could not afford to build special vaults would approach the very rich who had vaults to please store their gold also for a price. The very rich rented out space in their vaults for anyone who would like to deposit their gold there. These very rich with vaults issued receipts to their depositors, so when the gold was received for storage, they became the first bankers. Now, Mr. Banker was a smart man. It did not take him long to realize that his depositors rarely took back the gold that they deposited. Not only that, for every withdrawal of gold, there were also deposits. And while a certain amount of gold were being moved in and out of the vaults, there's a lot more gold that is just sitting in the vault gathering cobwebs. So the smart Mr. Banker lent the gold to other people who paid them for the privilege. He was giving out bank loans and charging interest. He was lending out money that belonged to the depositors who were also paying him to store their gold. Now, Mr. Banker was really smart. More about this after these messages. This is Larry Henares making your day with the second part of an article I wrote on money, How Banks Were Born. And I continue to quote, "Of course, the depositors finally realized what Mr. Banker was doing with the gold and threatened to withdraw their deposits. The banker finally offered to pay them for depositing the gold with him, and he paid them interest. The depositors not only had their gold stored and protected for free, but also got paid for the privilege. The banks became institutions that lived on and were passed on from one generation to another. Successful bankers became trusted members of the community. The bank depositors were issued receipts with certifying that they have gold deposited with Mr. Banker. Very soon, people who did not like to carry gold around for various reasons, because gold was too heavy to carry and there were robbers everywhere, began to pay for their purchases with these receipts. These receipts were called notes and were the first paper money ever issued. The notes were usually worded thus: this note certifies that the bearer has on deposit with this bank 100 pieces of gold coins. Such amount may be withdrawn from the bank upon presentation of this note." Now, banks began to issue banknotes of various denominations that became the paper money of their day. As a matter of fact, the first paper money in the Philippines was issued by the Bank of Philippine Islands way back during the Spanish times. Paper money greatly facilitated market transactions and gave birth to the modern economic system. Just as he found that not all the gold in his vaults are needed for everyday transactions, Mr. Banker found that he could safely issue more paper money than there were gold in his vaults to back them up. In other words, he issued banknotes for more gold than he had in his vaults. In modern times, this is called creating credit. In the old times, this was considered fraudulent and called for a lynching. Issuing surplus banknotes is fine as long as the depositors did not ask for their gold all at once. If they did, the bank had what is called as a run, and depositors would lose their confidence in Mr. Banker and would drive him either to bankruptcy and or to a place of public execution. More tomorrow, my dear friends. This is Larry Henares, making your day, saying good day, God bless you. Thank you very much for being with us. Till next time, hasta la bye-bye.